Thank you all for coming today. My name is Hannah Lia and I'm the Operations Director at hampers.com. Today I'm just actually going to talk to you through like a case study really. It's just an example of how we manage peak and I'm hoping you can get some learnings from this in terms of what we've done wrong, what we've done right. And what I'm going to do at the end is just give some time for Q&A if any of you have got any questions at all. So I just want to talk a little bit about who we are, if you haven't heard from us. So we're hampers.com. We've actually been around, it says over 40 years. It was actually our 45th anniversary today of being around. We're a luxury food and drink company, a hamper company, and obviously we're predominantly gifting in terms of what we do and who our customers are. We sell around 350,000 units a year, and we're extremely seasonal demand. As you can imagine, Christmas for us is a peak, is very, very, very important to us. The customer and the consumer at the heart of everything we do, and why I say that, we mean that the people that buy from us and spend money on our website are never the people that actually consume our products. So we have that really unique thing that sometimes other e-commerce brands don't have. So obviously, in terms of gifting as well, it's a very emotive product. So in terms of like delivery and making sure that your products are delivered on time is obviously vital to our whole proposition and making sure our customers are satisfied. Obviously, we're proud of being a business of positive change, so sustainability is really key for us. We've been carbon neutral since 2022 and did a reduction in 2023, and we're also working towards B Corp. It's just a really hard thing to do, but something we'll be really, really proud of moving forward when we do get that, hopefully next year. So why is protecting peak delivery so important to us? So our turnover is around 12 million a year, and as you can see from this graph, this is our sales distribution. So our dispatches in December is around 75% of our total revenue. So for us, making sure that we protect that as a business and protect our business value is huge to us. If we make any losses in that month, it's really critical for our business. And as you can see, the rest of the month, the overheads we have to run that business, it means we're in a loss for 9 months of the year. So making sure peak is really critical is just so good for us. 75% in 3 weeks. That's a scary number. Every time we get there, it always panics me, especially because we have to buy everything all up in advance as well. So you've got all that stock and you hope that someone will come and buy it. That's all I can say. It's literally. So how is it planned? So how do we do it? I thought I'd go through how we do it. Obviously, peaks can be different in different companies. I know I've spoken to like flower companies where their peaks are Mother's Day and Valentine's Day. So although this is applying to our Christmas, it could apply to anyone that has a peak business. So for us, we start our Q1, so straight after Christmas, we get everyone in the team to kind of go, right, what went wrong, how do we plan, and how do we make things better? So as part of that, we review our carrier mix, so we look at all of our SLAs and the performance of our carriers, how they did, what went well, what didn't go well, and obviously, you know, there's nuances within carriers, so some do well in certain areas, some do well in other areas, so we make sure that we do that to a really granular level. We work with our partner, GFS, to make sure that that's kind of integrated, as they're the people with the knowledge of those carriers, so that we come to them with our performance and they go, well, actually, this is how you could possibly improve it. We also review it from a cost basis, so what's our strategy, how are our margins looking, how are we charging on shipping? So we will look at, say, we're very lucky, for example, we had actually our more premium carrier actually perform worse than our less premium carrier in 2022. So we actually looked at moving all our premium shipping over to another carrier. That worked really well for us because the costs are about 60% cheaper than the main ones if you look at the whole total cost of shipping, whilst also the customer experience was better. So this is a win-win for us. So we obviously implement those changes, and we do that in Q2 and Q3, so we'll test those changes, make sure that actually the theory plays out. So obviously in the quieter months, we've got more time to get things right and check things out. So we're monitoring performance completely, checking how that works against new pricing models. And then obviously we're implementing like customer experience updates as well. So obviously as part of the review, we're looking at what other options there are for customers. Something that's vitally important to lots of customers, as you all know, is choice. So what people can select when they get to their checkout in terms of the options. So we offer a standard delivery, which is free over £50. And that was actually really interesting. We were really late to the market on actually charging for delivery for standard, so we actually only did that in 2023. And just for us, we found that it had no degradation in terms of sales or conversion. In fact, we actually found our conversion went up, which was actually bonkers. and also offering named and next day delivery, which obviously you're then capturing both the people that are organised, and then you're capturing the people that are there for a last minute panic buy on a gift. And we've also introduced recently like pre-10 and pre-12 delivery for the people that are really like want to know when it's getting delivered as well. So we'll implement all of those. And then it gets to Q3. So this is kind of where we are now. We've just put our forecast in and we've kind of locked it in for peak. So that's a day-by-day forecast of every carrier that we have. Kind of that forecasting process is very, like complex. Obviously you're looking at last year's sales, you're looking at macroeconomic pieces, and you also have to think as well as when, although like peak is December, there's actually a peak within a peak. So when does the Christmas volume really go up? For us, randomly every year we find that as soon as the king or the queen of the jungle is announced on the Sunday, that following Monday is literally when sales go from 3,000 a day to 7,000 a day, and we have no idea why that could possibly be. Maybe it's just coincidence. I guess maybe it's more adverts, and then you're constantly getting played Christmas music, aren't you? So I think that's probably it. So again, we're still continuously monitoring and assessing our changes in that Q3. And then obviously there's no going back at this point, it's Q4. So what we do is we have daily calls with our account managers and GFS. So obviously part of our overall service is we have an aggregated carrier management, so they kind of look after all our carriers for us. As a small business, there's only 30 people that work for us all year round. So we don't have that expertise. So having that reliance on a partner for us that works with us is just massive in terms of just being able to go, right, we've got a problem here, can you come and solve it? And obviously, like I say, you have these best laid plans, these never work. Like I say, we've had times where we've had all these plans, we've done all these things to try and mitigate risk, and things still happen at peak. I've had a couple of examples of this in 2022. I think this is probably not necessarily a negative, but we had this corporate order which was actually for 22,000 hampers, which is for us is massive given that we do for one company. And when we got the order, they were like, well, we want this in September, it's all fine. So we were all taking that order, and then it came to September and they were like, oh, can it be October? And it came to October and they were like, do you mind if it's actually December? And I was like, oh my God, how the hell are we going to do this? So we went to GFS and were like, can you please help solve this problem? Obviously, we've booked in all of our carriers. We didn't have 22,000 extra capacity in the network. So thankfully, with their relationship, they were able to go to specific carriers. And also, not only that, we also have warehouse restraints as well. So actually putting 22,000 extra units through our warehouse was almost impossible. So they were actually able to take that volume, store it in their warehouse, and dispatch it with a carrier that they negotiated for us as well. So that was really good. And then we also had another issue. Another year, we don't always have issues, I promise you, 2023 was perfect. We also had another issue where we actually had a warehouse management failure on the 11th of December, which, as you can imagine, would be like the worst time you can ever have that, where our label printing just stopped working. And we couldn't dispatch for 2 days. But obviously when you're dispatching 10,000 a day, that means 10,000 of your volume is just completely gone, and you're having to then knock that on to the rest of the days to make sure the customers are promised. Thankfully for us, in terms of customer promise, we actually offer a unique thing within our checkout, which is actually run by GFS. We're at Christmas, we offer the standard delivery, which is the 2 to 3 days. We offer the named and next, but we also offer, we call it a Christmas window. So it's free delivery for any price of hamper, but it's within a block. So it's within 10 days. So it allows us to demand plan. So we can, if we have any issues with dispatch, we can move that volume within that time. So that really helps us. And thankfully, a lot of the volume that we're having issues with was that volume. So from a customer promise, we actually didn't disappoint them. But from internally, it was panic stations. Thankfully, again, we were able to work with GFS. We were able to get additional carrier slots and thankfully get all our hampers out the door, which was really, really good. So yeah, dealing with the unexpected is always good. And it's always a challenge, but it's good when you overcome them when you've got partners. So in terms of, for us, obviously this is like what's so vital to us. I think the partners you work with as a business, for us, we've worked with GFS now for 4 years, and it's been invaluable to us, like I say, as an SME. We are a small business. So for us, one of the first things, obviously everyone's got bottom lines and they've got profits to make. So for us, as a small business, GFS enable you to dig into rates that you wouldn't get yourself. So especially when you've got a weird peak like we do, and you're trying to negotiate. For example, we dispatch 300 a day today. That's the difference. We're talking about 300 to 10,000. When you work with GFS, they're aggregating their whole all of the people that they work with, they're buying on the whole book of their people that work for them. So, for example, then we get rates that are much better than we can get on our own. So that helps with us in terms of a cost saving. And also then their knowledge enables us to get the best fit of a carrier as well. So again, when I was saying like what postcodes go where, they will say, well, actually, the Highlands and Islands, you can't use every, but use DPD for those and all those sort of things. And that just helps us. And then obviously then our checkout process they do all of that for us. So if we ever want to onboard a new carrier, all of that work is done by GFS as well. So we can be there and spending our time on like the strategy and the logic of what we want to do, but then we've got people that we can trust that kind of just do the actual piece of work, which is really good for us. So obviously for us, just having a single point of contact to management saves time. So obviously time is cost. We just have one person that we contact in GFS, and that works really well for us, and we can get everything we need from that. And then obviously, I've said before, but offering a better delivery solution to everyone, and just having that selection is really good. Obviously, I've mentioned before, but having a partner that you can trust and you can go to with these issues helps mitigate risk. And just having that year-long round planning where the person knows your business and can challenge what you're doing is really good as well, and can come to you with ideas is really vital. And I say that flexibility of how we were able to flip between services as well. I can't recommend enough not just having one carrier, because if you remember Christmas 2022 where Royal Mail's failures happened, I'm saying that really quietly because their stand is right by there. Royal Mail's failures just happened. Thankfully we weren't using Royal Mail, but I know a lot of the other carriers then had to take that slack where they were failing delivery as well. And the fact that we had those issues meant we could spread some of those over the other carriers because we had all those collections booked in. And again, like the thing for us is vital about customer focus. Like operations isn't just about delivering things on time. It's such a bigger part of the business, and it's so intertwined with the whole overall success of the business. One of our key strategies is customer loyalty and how we can grow customer loyalty. And making sure that you're delivering on your promises as an operations team to the business, but delivering as a brand, helps with customer loyalty. I don't know how many of you have bought things from places and it's been really bad delivery and you've gone, oh, they use that carrier, it's rubbish, I'm not going to come back to them. So for us, it's vital that we actually do deliver to our promises. Everyone knows that we're having challenges with acquisition costs at the moment, so acquisition is so high. So for us, loyalty is vital, because if you can get a customer to buy you again, it's a lot cheaper than it is to go and acquire them again through PPC or other methods of advertising. So for us, that's critical to our customer loyalty. So that's everything in my presentation. So does anyone have any questions or anything for me at all? Okay. We've got some mics coming around, sorry.
Hi, so I also have a hampers company, much smaller than yours, but we look at you and really want to learn a lot from you, and do learn a lot from you. And we've experienced exactly the same, that the premium courier actually performs much worse than the sort of poor courier, who might have a much worse reputation. How do you manage that on the customer front? Do you actively communicate that? Because when we say, oh, we actually deliver with Yodel, and they might not have the best reputation, customers actually, oh no, I don't want that, I want the other one. But how do you communicate to the customer that that might actually be better for you, for them?
It's actually really hard, and I don't think we've got that nailed yet. So I guess one thing that I think we want to do, so we're moving our whole website platform at the moment. One thing so we're saving a lot of our improvements when that goes live next year. But one thing we are going to be doing is almost telling the customers what the SLAs are for what they want to deliver. I know people, and the thing is, the data is there. The data says that this carrier is better than that carrier, and obviously it's going to be very unique to the type of business you are. I think some perform differently. Like for us, we use Every, and we use proof of delivery, so that's vital. It's not just the standard. We obviously pay to make sure that that's proof of delivery, and obviously people have got a bias against that. Regardless, there's always going to be that bias against the negativity against, and everyone's got their own personal preference. Last mile delivery is you can work with the best carriers in the world, but the last mile will depend on who that person is on that road, and it could be a really good person or it could really be a bad person, but the data doesn't lie. Our SLAs for on-time delivery are facts, so I think we've got ways to improve. At the minute, obviously, we just go by what our reviews are, and we obviously monitor those, and if we ever get negative ones, we'll make sure that we put that to what carrier it is. and we have less complaints overall. So it's something we can definitely improve on in terms of telling that customer. But we obviously know we do our standard deliveries and then if you do a named or next day, that's DPD. So yeah, hope that helps. Does anyone else have any other questions at all? No? Okay. Oh, one more.
Oh, yeah. We're an online retailer of skincare. Probably do similar numbers to you. But we deal with Royal Mail direct. People at GFS have never been able to come close to the price we can get.
I can't hear you very well, sorry. I'm going to come closer because I can't hear very well in here.
I'll start again. Yeah, so we're closer. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're an online retailer of skincare. Do similar numbers
okay.
to yourself. And we deal with Royal Mail directly.
Yeah.
People at GFS have never been able to come close to the prices we can get direct with Royal Mail. So I just kind of wonder if you've ever explored that or gone back to the couriers directly to push them harder for a better price.
So we've never had to do that. So we don't use Royal Mail at all in our delivery mix. So we've never had to do that. I think Royal Mail doesn't necessarily work for our size parcels because we're larger, and I think we just get better value from the other. We use 3 carriers, so we use every DPD and DHL. So we use that broad mix, and it depends on like the outcome. And for us, we just basically push GFS to go, that's not good enough, and then they'll have to come back with a better fee for us basically. So we don't have to work with that. We don't actually have that relationship directly with the carriers at all. So we have to rely on our trust with GFS basically that they're getting us the best rates. Lovely. Anyone else? I think that's it. Lovely. Well, thank you so much for coming. I hope that was of interest. Thank you.